Conversations with Z.
In the community I grew up in, single mothers were respected and appreciated for raising their children single-handedly. According to research, there are 40% of parents in South Africa who are single mothers. Welcome to Conversations with Z, with me, Zamakacheni. Today we are talking about single mothers, and my guest is Khumudzo Ralifeta, who is raising her 4-year-old daughter all by herself. Hi, Khumudzo.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Welcome to Conversations with Z.
Lovely to be here.
Good. So, Khumudzo, how did you become a single parent? Can you just share your journey with us just briefly, just so that we can understand how you actually became a single parent?
Okay, so about 5 years ago, I met a guy and we dated for about a year or so. And then obviously, as you would know, Jolo, you can't guarantee, and things didn't work out. And our relationship was at a point where I knew for a fact that I couldn't be with him in a romantic way. I wouldn't say unfortunately, but when it came to that point, that's when I realized that I'm pregnant. And so it was a question of if I was not going to keep the child, what would be the reason? And the only reason I could come up with at that point is I was employed, I was 28 at that time, and the only reason I could come up with is because me and him are not in a romantic relationship. And for me, that was not good enough, because I don't know when will God bless me again. So I was like, no, I will keep the child. And obviously I had hoped that we would be able to maintain a healthy co-parenting relationship.
Okay. And so now you find yourself as a single mom. What are some of the challenges that you face as a single mother?
What is not a challenge when you're a single mother? Time. I think time is the one thing that could summarize all of your challenges. The balance between your career, spending enough time with your child, being there as a mother, being present at school, the activities, when you come back from work, do you have attention to give to your child? How was your day and all of that? Because again, I work in corporate, so you can imagine how my life is set up, Dating is a problem because now the free time that you have, you need to allocate it to your family, your friends, and now you have this other person that also needs your time. So I could say that my biggest challenge is to juggle everything. So time summarizes all the challenges I have.
Okay. And how do you get through those challenges? How do you make it past all of that?
So I would say that a good support structure is key. When they say it takes a village to raise a child, it definitely does. And even with people that a two-parent household, I've seen that support structure does matter, even if there is a mother and a father in the situation, So I would say for me, what helps me is my support structure.
Okay, because that was actually going to be my next question to say, do you have a solid support structure? But you've already touched on that. I don't know if you want to elaborate any further.
Oh yes, I can. So the support structure is not just only in terms of helping you out with how you manage your day-to-day as well. It's also financially as well, because there's a lot that comes with raising a child. Child, I always say, it's not a debit order, where a certain money just goes out and it ends there. There are certain things that contribute to raising a child. So currently I live with my parents due to the fact that I am a single mother, and I work, as I said before, in corporate. So on paper, it says that I need to be at work and leave at 4:30. But in terms of what happens on the ground, that is not the case, because now you're deadline driven.
Yeah.
So if I were to go to work at 8 until 4, that means I'll never meet my obligations. So I need to put extra time in. There are other things that happen at work, and in terms of the environment that I work in is very fast-paced, fast-paced, I meant to say, and you're always on your feet, you know. So having my mother assist me with my daughter is the best gift I have, because I know so many couldn't say the same, you know. So like, for instance, the other day I left in the morning and my daughter was still asleep, and I came back at night and she's still asleep. And when I left the following morning, she was still asleep, and she called me and she said, like, "Mommy, why didn't you not come home?" And I'm like, I did come home. You get what I'm saying? I did come home, but obviously the times. So my mom is the one who's gonna make sure my daughter gets ready and goes to school, because I live before, because it's quite a distance where I work and where I live, which is another sacrifice I have to take. Such things, when she comes back from school, who does she find at home, you know? I know most of women like me, they would have nannies. However, the trust that you have between your mother is like a second mother to your daughter, you know. That is one trust that money cannot buy. So that in itself is very, it helps. And obviously my brother, my nephews, my cousins, my sisters, like even when I came here, she's not so well and my mom is not available, but my cousin was so kind to say I could stay with her a few hours while you go and do what you need to do today.
And you know, I'll call you KG. Just hearing you talk, it just makes me realize that there are so many complexities to being a mom. It's not just about you wake up and you go about your day, but there's so many intricate parts that all need to play a role. And hearing you speak about everything is just making me realize, Guti, you know, there's so much that we take for granted, or there's so much that we don't think about, or there are so many assumptions that we make. But just as I was listening to you sort of just map out just a day or two of your days, just made me realize, Guti, wow, you know, motherhood comes with a lot. But let's look at the positive side now. What do you enjoy and love about motherhood?
It's the best. It's the best thing. Out of all the roles that I have, being a mother comes first, you know. You have this little human being. You need to build their character. You have been to the world, you know, you've experienced life, and you know what's good life has to offer and what's bad life has to offer. So now here's this human being that you want them to experience the best of life, but yet again you want them to be strong enough to be able to face the worst of life, you know, that. And secondly, also seeing a little bit of my character in my daughter, you know, how confident she is, how talkative she is, you know, how stubborn she is at times, of which she doesn't get from me.
We don't know that.
You know, but also that is beautiful to watch the little bit of yourself, the little bit of their father, sometimes not even either of you, seeing their own character coming to show itself, you know, and also to matter in someone's life, be their entire world, you know. The fact that her world starts and ends with me, it gives me so much pride. Yeah.
And had you always planned to be a mom? Because I know there are women out there who don't aspire to become like a mother.
Yeah.
Had you always wanted to be a mom?
Not really. Okay. Not really, because I also wanted to do things in the traditional way. Get married first, have a child, and so forth. You know, and also there are things that I grew up not having. So I wanted to reach a certain place in my career before I can be a mother, you know. I always said, a typical example, I'm like, oh gosh, I hate public transport. I wish my daughter doesn't have to grow up knowing that being the only form of transport like I did, you know. So I was very calculative about when do I get a child. And also, like I said, I wanted to get married first, you know, that was my intention, but then things didn't work out that way. But yeah, so it was, I did not know whether I would reach that place or I won't. Yeah.
When you say that place, do you mean marriage?
No, being a mother.
Oh, being a mom.
Being a mother, yes, due to the fact that also the marriage thing, you are not certain that that's something God has put upon your life or not. So it was, but either way, I was like, if ever I'm going to be a mother, I'll make sure I'm the best. Yeah.
And I love what you've touched on, because the interviewer in me wants to now go into that whole topic of marriage, but I won't. I'm going to get back on track and sort of stick to single motherhood, because that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
But I love what you've said when you say, we don't know if that's what God has for you, right? Because that's my belief, that I feel some of us are gifted with the gift of marriage and some aren't.
Yes.
And yeah, but as I said, that's a topic for another day, so let me not derail, let me come back. So what role, right? And the next question is a difficult one, and maybe even an unfair one. But what role do you think society or our communities, right, can play in dealing with deadbeat dads, if anything at all?
Holding men accountable.
How?
It is, for society, it is so okay that from the moment that you are pregnant as a woman, you are dealing with the reality that you can raise this child alone, which is something that I face, which is something that I know each and every other woman has faced, married or not. You need to prepare yourself emotionally and mentally that I may not come out the other side still having the partner that I have, you know. And that is coming from the fact that society has made it okay for men to behave that way. It doesn't matter what relationship you have with that person or what kind of background does he come from, or there is no excuse for someone not being able to raise their child, you know. And also the fact that I think society has drilled it into the heads of men that raising a child is just finances, you know. Someone thinks that because I send you a certain amount of money every month, therefore I am raising my child. And that's how men think. How they are structured and how they think, maybe it's because how they show their love is to provide. But we live in a world where we know for a fact that what builds a character is not what they have in terms of the material stuff. Because you can find kids who had everything they could think of under the moon, but they don't turn out to be good people. You get what I'm saying? So that is not guaranteed. So I think those two things are very crucial into society playing a role. We've made it okay. I mean, there's even this saying, umntana waga mama. Who's saying that? Who's saying that? It's the society. And as a man, when you hear that, it says to you, it's okay. Because umntwana waga mama, it doesn't matter. Umntwana needs to stay with their mother. So
when you say we need to hold, or society needs to hold men accountable, what does that look like? What does that even mean? Who needs to go to these men to say, play your part? Must it be other men? Is it other men that need, so is it the present dads that need to go to the deadbeats to say, my gents, let's pull our socks up, let us be there for our, and I'm asking you this because this is a topic that's very close to my heart. If I can actually be honest with you, it's one of two reasons why I started conversations with Z. It was seeing men just walk away from their responsibility and living their lives and just not being bothered. I looked around and I was like, it's not okay. Right? So me asking you this, it's not to put you on the spot, but I want us to really try, and I don't expect us to change the world, right? We can't, but I want, if there's a man that will come across this video, and if he knows that he's neglected his responsibility, I want him, after seeing this, to be able to reflect and to then do better, right? That's what I want, and that's why I'm having these conversations. So that's why I'm just going into detail. I want to understand what you mean when you say, as society, we need to hold men accountable. What does that look like exactly?
Firstly, the families that we come from. You know, if I have a brother, and I don't know his kids, that's wrong. What am I saying? You know. Secondly, it shouldn't be okay we've made it okay to have kids when we are not married. And I think this single parenting is an effect that comes from the fact that as society there are certain things that we don't seem like they're important, you know. You find in other countries, the moment you get a girl pregnant, you get married to her. It's not because they feel that you shouldn't marry someone you love or whatever, but they understand that there's other things that come to play with that, you know. Secondly is in South Africa, I can easily take the father of my child to pay maintenance, but I can't necessarily force him to spend time with his child, you know. In all honesty, in my position, if I had to choose between the money and my child spending more time with her father, I'll choose her spending more time with her father. Because in terms of money, I'm a career woman, I'll work, I'll get things done at the end of the day. That is very much replaceable compared to her spending time with her father, you know. So that's another thing. What is the law doing about it, you know? And also, men, they'll say, no, it's you, baby mamas, you are using the kids as a weapon, so therefore I cannot. Guys, you don't need permission to be with your child. As men, you do not need permission to be with your child, you know. The other day, I think there was a case that was trending that this baby mama went to jail for refusing the father. Some men are not even aware the resources that are available for them. You don't need permission. That is your child. You can spend time with them, you know. And spending time doesn't necessarily translate into having money, you know. So for me, let's take for one of my brothers. My mom has always, they would come during holidays, come and visit us and all of that, you know. And that also, it creates a sense of responsibility for the guy, you know. Not only the mother and her parents and her family have to always take care of the child, you know. Think about what I said today. It would have been nice to pick up the phone and say, hey, Jude, I have this situation, help me out. Even if he's in a position to say, I know I can't help you out, but let me see what I can do. Also for him, he also needs that, like I said, it takes a village. He needs that support system from his side. So the support system is not for only us women, but it's also for the male as well. And that's how you can make a good co-parenting relationship work.
And I mean, you took us through earlier around just what it takes being a single mom and what your days sometimes look like, right? And obviously you're human and you go through challenges because we all do, right? So when you are facing difficulty of some sort, where do you draw your strength from? Where, you know, what is that one place or that one person that you know you can go to? You know, where do you go revive yourself?
So I would say with the challenges that I have now, it's easy for me to face them because I think the most challenging time that I had was during the pregnancy when I was at a point where, you know, we say it, but it's very difficult, where you are like, so I am going to go through this alone. I am going to raise this child alone, and you are in a position where you're trying to show this other person to say, you're not doing it for me, you're not doing it for me, you're doing it for this person, you know. And through that, I was extremely hurt, and it took a couple of years for me to heal, you know. And my healing came from talking to other single mothers. No one understands your situation like a person who's been in your shoes. My mom gave me advice and everything whatsoever, but I had to seek counseling. And when I did, lucky for me, the lady who was counseling me, she was also a single parent and who went through the same thing I went through. And she was very patient with me, and she made me understand that our healing journey is not the same. Because it doesn't mean that you're a single parent, therefore you're going to give me the right advice. Because sometimes we want people to go through about this the way that you went through about it. Say, you know what, Minanje, after a month I was like, that's it, I'm done. Someone, it might be a month, someone might be a week, someone might be years. It's different. But also finding someone who's patient with you, you know. So after that, I think everything that came after that, I was able to deal with it in a much more matured way than before, because what happens in this situation is that you are hurt so much. And you know, I always say there is no crazy baby mama from out of the blue. Something must have happened to make you feel like that, because at one point I was a crazy baby mama. I was doing things that did not make sense to other people, you know.
You were acting out of character.
Yes, definitely. And that's because I was so hurt. I was extremely hurt. I always say today, like, ain't no man that's gonna make me cry like my baby daddy did. And it's not because of Umjolo. It was because I saw him turn his face from the one person that he needed to love unconditionally, and that hurt me through my gut. So I would say that I draw myself, my strength from ladies who are like me, who have worked that journey. And that's it. They understand.
Yeah. And what would you say to a single mother, right, who's realizing right now that, you know, they're in this alone, and chances are she hasn't even been told, because these guys also don't tell you, they just disappear, right?
Yeah.
So if there's a woman out there who is either pregnant or maybe has already had the child, and now the father of the child is just nowhere to be seen and is not communicating, and she's slowly but surely realizing, it's okay, it's me and my child, what would you say to this woman? Because she's obviously hurt where she is, she's disappointed, she's in denial, she's confused, she's sitting with questions, and no one is willing to give her those answers, right, that she needs. What would you say to her?
So firstly is being a single parent is not just about, he can be there. There are women who are in a marriage, but they're basically single parents, because anything and everything that has to do with the kids is mainly her job. So that's how deep this thing goes. That's how men are not accountable into raising their kids, you know. When you are in that space, I feel like some women, they're single parents, they're not even aware which this thing is happening, you know. Like you said, you are sitting there on your own, and you still, maybe there's some form of communication, maybe he is showing up to some of your gynae appointments and so forth, but obviously, like with my case, he's still there, but he's not at a level where I would prefer him to be, you know. And the fact that he's not even living in the same province as me is just on its own. It tells you how much of this situation that you are alone. And I don't think they, as men, are aware that they are putting us through this, you know. And it is not a nice place to be in. It is very, very sad. I'm a very bubbly person, confident and whatnot, you know, and I don't mind confrontation. I'm scared of Umjolo, as I say, but not really, you know. But this was the biggest challenge I faced in my life. And there was a point where I did not see myself coming through the other side. For me, it was like the end, you know. One thing I can say to you as a woman is that it's not your fault. There's nothing you could have done or said or whatever to change the circumstances that you find yourself in. You cannot be responsible for someone's actions. You can only be responsible for yours. And what you can do is do everything and anything to put yourself in a position where you are able to do this. If it means you need to get counseling, do that. If it means you need to surround yourself with other single moms, people who understand what you are going through, someone, a friend that you can call and say, "Ish, friend, I need a babysitter," and they would understand what you mean, you know, and not someone who doesn't have a child to say, "No, I can't do it, I don't want to," you know, because they don't understand that for you to pick up the phone, that's how stranded you are at that point, you know. So do everything to set yourself up to be able to go through this journey, you know, everything. If it means you need to start saving and thinking about, hey, it means financial, I'm going to be responsible alone, do that. If it means let me get another side hustle, do that. Anything that you can think of that would put you in a position where you will be able to do this job better. That's what you need to focus on, instead of focusing on what is it I did, what can I do to him. When it involves him, then you're not on the right path. You need to look at yourself and be more selfish about yourself. And once you get to that place, it becomes easier. It's tough, but it becomes easier. It becomes a way of life. And before you know it, they're all grown up.
So, Khumutso, what other words of encouragement do you have for single moms?
I think when you do find yourself in that situation, the one thing that always brings you back from the rabbit hole is your child. Because then you need to put yourself in a position to remind yourself, why am I doing this? So do everything and anything in the best interest of your child. Sometimes it means you'll have to be matured not only for yourself but also for the other party involved, you know. Sometimes it means you are supposed to walk a certain distance, let's say 50%, you know, and he meets you halfway. Sometimes be prepared that you're gonna walk 80%, you know, and you don't know what the future holds, you know. I'd be lying and not to say that I'm not hopeful that my daughter and her father could have a much more stronger relationship going to the future. I am hopeful that the more he gets older, he'll realize how important his daughter is to him, you know. I have not written him off, you know. If it means I have to be the one who picks up the phone every time to call him to talk to the daughter, I'll do that 10 times or 100 times. I don't care how many times, because I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for my daughter. That is the one important thing as a single parent, whether male or female, that you need to have the best interests of your child at heart. And once you have that, yes, there will be challenges, but then at the end of the day, you sleep peacefully. You sleep so nice, knowing that you've done the best. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And I think just from my side, in closing, I just want to thank you for, I think, your vulnerability, you know, your willingness to share your journey. It's not an easy one. And I think the subject is a sensitive one. And I think maybe you've shared because you realize that, you know, there's this saying that there's purpose in pain, right?
Yes.
So at the time when it was really hard for you, at the time you wouldn't have known, right?
Yes.
That you would give other women strength. So there was purpose in your pain, and thank you for for allowing God to use you in addressing other women, because you are not alone.
Yes.
And we don't know what this video, what your story, what your message will do for other ladies who are in the exact same shoes as you. So I really applaud you for that. And I just want to wish you all the best in climbing that corporate ladder. You did mention that you are in corporate, so I wish you all the best, and I wish you all the best financially as well. And I'm glad that you have hope. And I pray and hope that indeed the father of your daughter changes his ways. And you know, it's at this point that I want to talk to men. If you are a man, and if you come across this, you might not be a deadbeat dad yourself, but you might know a deadbeat dad in your circle. Can we all play our part? Can women play their part? Can men play their part? Can we stand up and just do the right thing? I don't care how children come about. I don't care what the circumstances are, but these children are innocent. These children don't ask to be brought into this world. We as adults bring them into the world, and it is our responsibility to give them the best lives that they can get. So if you are a man watching, and if you are a woman watching, and if you know that there is a man in your circle, in your family, amongst your friends who is not playing his part, can we be courageous enough to have the difficult conversations? Can we hold our brothers accountable? Can we hold our friends accountable? Can we hold our fathers accountable? Can we put an end to this? We are just building a society where the future generation is going to have to heal from their childhoods because we didn't hold fathers accountable. We all have a part to play. I, as Uzama, have a part to play. Homoto has her part to play. And if you are watching, can you just take a moment to just think about the innocent children? Put the adults aside. Can we just think about the children? And I'm not saying that people must be in relationships they don't want to be in. That is not what I'm saying, right? But what I'm saying is, in situations where there have been blessings, and by the blessings I mean the children. If there's a relationship that has produced a child, can both parents play their part? Can both parents be civil enough to just put differences aside, to put circumstances aside, and to put the children first? Can we all play a part in raising children that we will be proud of? Can we raise responsible adults? That is my plea. I am pleading with you right now. I'm really just crying out to say, Bo put bami, bo sis bami, lenkinga eyethu sonke. Lenkinga eyethu sonke. Ngiyacela, ngicela silungise. And with that, that is it for Conversations with Z. We will be back again next month. And I wish I could say with a lighter topic, but I don't know. I don't know what the topic will be, but this is exactly why this platform was started, and this is exactly why this platform exists. It's because I'm going to have the uncomfortable conversations. I'm going to ask of you to just take a step back sometimes and reflect. As Homoto rightfully said, a lot of things are happening because society enables it. We are society. Society is not other people, it's you. If you are sitting there and your friend is not maintaining his child, or your friend does not spend time with his child, you are enabling that. There's nothing stopping you from having a conversation.
No.
So yeah, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Please share your comments. I'd love to hear your views. And if you're a single mom and you are on this journey and Khomotso's journey has somehow inspired you, please just let us know, let her know that her coming out today was not in vain, that her vulnerability today was not in vain, that her allowing us into her life, into such, a significant part of her life, it takes a lot, but she did it so that in the years to come, there are no children that have to deal with this. She's doing it so that there are less and less single mothers out there. This 40% that research is telling us about, we need that number to drop. And that number is only going to drop if we all play our part. So thank you so much for watching. Please do share your comments and don't run away. We will be back again next time. Thank you.